When Maria Santos checked her bank account that Tuesday morning, she thought there had been a mistake. Her rent was paid, but she knew she didn't have enough money. Someone had secretly sent $2,400 to her landlord. But who? And why? What started as a mysterious act of kindness would soon uncover a deadly secret that one of the world's most powerful companies had been hiding for years. A secret that cost her husband his life. A secret that could kill again. Maria had no idea that her struggle to pay rent would lead her into a dangerous game with Tesla, where corporate executives would threaten her job, monitor her family, and offer millions to keep her quiet. She never imagined that Elon Musk himself would show up at her door with a shocking confession. But sometimes the truth has a way of coming out, no matter how much money and power tries to bury it. This is the story of how a single mother's curiosity about a rent payment exposed one of the biggest corporate cover-ups in automotive history. It's about what happens when ordinary people refuse to stay silent in the face of extraordinary lies. And it all began with a simple question. Who paid my rent? Maria Santos stared at her phone screen, blinking hard. The numbers had to be wrong. She closed the banking app and opened it again. Still the same impossible result. Her rent payment of $2,400 had gone through yesterday morning. She remembered the sick feeling in her stomach as she watched her account balance drop to $37. But now, somehow, she still had $2,847 in her checking account. This can't be right, she whispered to herself. Maria sat at her small kitchen table in their Reno apartment, morning sunlight streaming through thin curtains. 8-year-old Sophia was eating cereal and watching cartoons on the old tablet they shared. Carlos had bought that tablet 3 years ago, back when money wasn't so tight, back when he was still alive. For the past 6 months, Maria had been living paycheck to paycheck. Working as a battery technician at Tesla's Gigafactory 1 in Nevada paid decent money, but not enough for a single mom trying to raise a smart daughter who needed everything from school supplies to new shoes that seemed to wear out every few months. Last month had been the worst. Maria was $800 short on rent, and had already worked overtime every week for 2 months straight. Her supervisor, Tom Williams, was understanding. But there were only so many extra hours available. Sophia needed new clothes for school. The car needed new brakes. Everything seemed to break down at once, just like it had since Carlos died in that terrible accident 2 years ago. But somehow, mysteriously, the rent got paid. When Maria called her landlord, Mr. Chen, in a panic to ask for more time, he said the money had already come through. "Are you sure?" Maria had asked. "Completely sure, Mrs. Santos. Full payment, right on time." Maria thought maybe she had miscounted somewhere, but deep down she knew that wasn't true. She kept track of every penny these days. Now it had happened again. Someone was paying her bills. But who? Sophia looked up from her cereal. "Mom, why do you look worried?" "Just checking our bank account, Ija," Maria said, forcing a smile. "Everything's fine." Sophia nodded and went back to her cartoons. At 8 years old, she had already learned not to ask too many questions about money. It broke Maria's heart. Maria called the bank's customer service line. After waiting on hold for 15 minutes, a tired-sounding woman named Janet picked up. "First National Bank. This is Janet. How can I help you?" "Hi. I'm calling about a payment that showed up in my account. I need to know who sent it." "I can help with that. What's your account number?" Maria provided her information and waited while Janet looked it up. "I can see the payment you're referring to, ma'am. It came from an account ending in 7049. But I can't give you more details without proper authorization from the account holder." "But it's my rent payment," Maria said, trying to keep her voice calm. "I need to know who paid it. What if it's some kind of mistake?" "I understand your concern, but these are banking regulations. You'll need to contact the account holder directly if you want more information." "How am I supposed to contact them if I don't know who they are?" "I'm sorry, ma'am. That's all I can tell you." Maria hung up, frustrated. She looked around their small apartment. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen barely big enough for their tiny table. It wasn't much, but it was home. Sophia's artwork covered the refrigerator. Photos of Carlos smiled down from the walls. The life insurance money from Carlos's accident had lasted about a year. After that, Maria was on her own with a grieving daughter and bills that seemed to multiply every month. At work that day, Maria couldn't focus. She kept thinking about the mystery payment while assembling battery packs on the production line. The work was repetitive but required attention to detail. One mistake could ruin an entire pack worth thousands of dollars. During lunch break, she sat with her friend Jessica Martinez, who worked in the same department. "You seem distracted today," Jessica said, unwrapping her sandwich. "Everything okay at home?" "Someone paid my rent," Maria said quietly. Jessica raised an eyebrow. "That's good news, right?" "I don't know who did it. The bank won't tell me anything except that it came from some account I've never heard of." "Maybe you have a secret admirer," Jessica joked. "This isn't funny, Jess. What if it's some kind of mistake? What if they want the money back and I already spent it? Or what if someone's just being nice?" Jessica suggested. "There are still good people in the world, you know?" Maria wanted to believe that, but she had been disappointed too many times. When Carlos died, lots of people promised to help. Most of them disappeared after the funeral. She had learned to depend only on herself and her paycheck. That afternoon, Maria's supervisor, Tom Williams, approached her workstation. "Maria, I need you to come with me to the main office," he said. Her heart skipped. "Am I in trouble?" "Not at all. Mr. Musk wants to meet with some of our long-term battery team members. You know how he likes to get feedback directly from the factory floor." Maria had never met Elon Musk in person, though she had seen him during factory tours and company meetings. The thought of talking to him one-on-one made her nervous. "What should I expect?" she asked, as they walked across the facility. "Nothing formal. He just wants to hear about your experience working here. Tom says you're one of our most reliable team members." The executive building felt different from the factory floor. Everything was clean and modern, with large windows showing the Nevada desert stretching endlessly in all directions. Maria changed into a fresh work shirt and followed Tom to a conference room. Elon Musk was taller than she expected. He wore a simple black t-shirt and jeans, his hair slightly messy like someone who had been running his hands through it. He looked tired but alert, like someone who didn't sleep enough but was always thinking. "Maria Santos," he said, glancing at a tablet. "3 years with us. Battery pack assembly. Tom tells me you're one of our best." "Thank you, Mr. Musk," Maria said quietly. "Please, sit down. Tell me, what's the biggest challenge you face in your daily work?" Maria thought carefully. She could mention the equipment that sometimes broke down, or the pressure to meet daily quotas. But something about his direct gaze made her want to be honest. "The work itself is good," she said. "I like working with my hands, and I believe in what Tesla is doing for the environment. But sometimes it's hard to focus when you're worried about things at home." Musk leaned forward slightly. "What kind of things?" Maria hesitated. She didn't want to sound like she was complaining or asking for help. "Just normal life stuff. Bills. Taking care of my daughter. You know how it is." "How old is your daughter?" 8. "Sophia. She's really smart like her father was." "Was? He died 2 years ago. Car accident." Musk's expression changed completely. For a moment, he looked almost stricken, like someone had hit him. "I'm very sorry for your loss." "Thank you." They talked for a few more minutes about battery production, safety procedures, and workplace improvements. But Maria noticed that Musk seemed distracted after she mentioned Carlos's death. He kept glancing at his tablet and checking his phone. As the meeting ended, Musk stood up and shook her hand. "Thank you for your honest feedback, Maria. Keep up the excellent work." Walking back to the factory floor, Maria wondered why he had seemed so interested in her personal situation. Most executives would have moved on quickly after the standard condolences. That evening, Maria picked up Sophia from after-school care. Sophia was excited because her teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, said she might be able to skip ahead in math. "She's really gifted with numbers," Mrs. Rodriguez told Maria. "Has she always been this way?" "Her father was an engineer," Maria explained. "I think she inherited his brain." On the drive home, Sophia chattered about her day. The robotics club was starting soon, and she really wanted to join. But it cost $50 for supplies. "We'll see, Misha," Maria said carefully. "Maybe in a few months when things are better." Sophia's face fell, but she didn't argue. She had learned not to ask for things they couldn't afford. Back at their apartment, Maria made dinner while Sophia did homework at the kitchen table. The rent mystery was still bothering her. She decided to call Mr. Chen again. "Mr. Chen, This is Maria Santos in apartment 4B. I have a question about my rent payment. Everything okay, Maria? The payment came through fine yesterday. That's what I'm calling about. Do you know who sent the money? I didn't send it. There was a pause. You didn't send it? But it came from, let me check my records. She heard papers rustling. It shows here that the payment came from Tesla Financial Services. Isn't that your company? Maria's world tilted. Tesla Financial Services? Yes, that's what my deposit slip says. Payment reference number TFS 2024. After hanging up, Maria sat on her couch, staring at nothing. Tesla had paid her rent. Her own company had paid her bills without her knowledge or permission. But why? And how did they even know she needed help? The only person at Tesla who knew about her financial struggles was nobody. She had never told anyone at work about struggling to pay bills. She was too proud and too scared of losing her job, except for today. Today she had mentioned to Elon Musk that she worried about bills and taking care of Sophia. Maria's hands began to shake as the impossible became obvious. Somehow, some way, Elon Musk had arranged for her rent to be paid within hours of their conversation. But that was crazy. Elon Musk was a billionaire who ran multiple companies. He probably talked to dozens of employees every week. There was no way he would remember one casual comment about financial stress. Unless there was something else. Something about the way his expression changed when she mentioned Carlos dying in a car accident. He had looked almost guilty, like he blamed himself somehow. Maria shook her head. She was being ridiculous. Car accidents happened every day. Carlos's death was a tragedy, but it wasn't anyone's fault except maybe the rain that made the roads slippery that night. Still, the questions wouldn't leave her alone. Why would Tesla pay her rent? Why would Elon Musk care about one struggling employee? And why did he look so strange when she mentioned Carlos's accident? Sophia came out of her room, ready for bed. Mom, you look worried again. Just thinking about work stuff, Maria said, hugging her daughter tight. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, Mija. Better than fine. But as Maria tucked Sophia into bed, she couldn't shake the feeling that nothing would ever be the same again. Someone at Tesla knew more about her situation than they were letting on. And tomorrow, she was going to find out why. Maria couldn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Elon Musk's face when she mentioned Carlos's accident. That strange look of guilt and sadness. She kept thinking about Tesla Financial Services and the payment reference number Mr. Chen had given her. At 2 a.m., she gave up trying to sleep and quietly went to her laptop. She searched for Tesla Financial Services, but only found basic information about employee benefits. There was mention of an employee assistance program, but it required applications and approval processes that took weeks. What happened to her was different. It was immediate and personal. Maria looked up Tesla's employee portal. She had login access for basic things like checking her schedule and pay stubs, but when she tried to search for information about financial assistance programs, she hit password-protected pages that required special permissions. The next morning at work, Maria felt like everyone was watching her. She knew it was probably her imagination, but she couldn't help feeling paranoid. During her lunch break, she walked to the Human Resources Department. Hi, I'm Maria Santos from Battery Assembly, she told Linda, the receptionist. Linda was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes who always remembered employees' names. Hi, Maria. What can I help you with today? I have a question about Tesla Financial Services. I got a payment from them, and I'm not sure why. I want to make sure it's not some kind of mistake. Linda looked confused. A payment? What kind of payment? Well, someone paid my rent. The landlord said it came from Tesla Financial Services, but I never applied for any help. Linda typed something into her computer, frowning at the screen. That's strange. I don't see any record of financial assistance for you in our system. Are you sure it was from Tesla? Maria showed Linda the reference number that Mr. Chen had given her. Linda's expression changed as she read it. This is definitely one of our reference numbers, Linda said slowly. But it's coded differently than our usual employee assistance fund. Let me get my supervisor. Linda disappeared into a back office. Maria waited nervously, watching other employees come and go. A few people she recognized from the factory floor nodded hello. but she wondered if they knew something she didn't. Finally, Linda returned with Dave Morrison, the HR manager. He was a tall man in his 50s, who wore expensive suits and always looked serious. "I'm Dave Morrison," he said, shaking Maria's hand. "Linda tells me you received an unexpected payment from Tesla Financial Services." "Yes, sir. It paid my rent, but I never applied for any kind of help. I'm worried it might be a mistake." Dave looked at the reference number again, then typed something into Linda's computer. His eyebrows went up as he read whatever appeared on the screen. "This is very unusual," he said. "The payment was definitely authorized by our system, but it came through a special executive override code." "What does that mean?" "It means someone very high up in the company personally approved this assistance. But there's no record of you applying for help or being referred by a supervisor." Maria's heart started beating faster. "So someone just decided to help me?" "It appears that way. Let me make some calls and see what I can find out. Can you come back here at the end of your shift?" "Am I in trouble?" "Not at all, Maria. We just want to make sure everything is handled properly." The rest of Maria's workday dragged by. She kept making small mistakes on the battery assembly line because her mind was elsewhere. Jessica noticed that something was wrong. "You've been acting weird all morning," Jessica said during their afternoon break. "What's going on? Remember what I told you about someone paying my rent? I found out it was Tesla." Jessica's eyes widened. "The company paid your rent? How is that possible?" "I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out." "Did you ask for help?" "No. That's the weird part. I never told anyone here that I was struggling with money." "Well, you did work a lot of overtime last month. Maybe someone noticed and wanted to help." "Maybe," Maria said, but she knew it was more than that. At the end of her shift, Maria went back to Dave's office. He was waiting for her with a thick folder on his desk. "I've looked into your payment," Dave said as Maria sat down. "The authorization came through yesterday afternoon at 3:47. Maria calculated quickly. That was about an hour after her meeting with Elon Musk. "The approval code belongs to executive-level management," Dave continued. "Only a few people in the company have access to that system." "Like who?" "Like Mr. Musk himself." There it was. The confirmation Maria had been afraid to hope for. Elon Musk had personally arranged for her rent to be paid. "I don't understand," she said quietly. "We only talked for maybe 10 minutes. Dave leaned forward in his chair. "Between you and me, Maria, Mr. Musk sometimes does things like this. He hears about an employee going through a tough time, and he quietly helps out. But he usually doesn't want anyone to know about it." "So this has happened before?" "A few times. There was an employee whose house burned down last year. Another person who needed surgery but couldn't afford it. Mr. Musk took care of them, but he insisted that it stay private." "Why private?" "Think about it. If word got out that he was personally helping employees, we'd have thousands of people asking for help. It would be impossible to manage." Maria nodded, though she still didn't understand why Musk had chosen to help her specifically. "So what should I do now?" she asked. "Nothing. Just accept the help and keep doing good work. But I would strongly recommend not talking about this with other employees. It could create complication." "What kind of complications?" "Other people might think you're getting special treatment. Or they might start asking for help themselves. It's better if this stays between us." Dave's tone was friendly, but Maria heard the warning clearly. "Don't talk about this." "I understand," she said. "Good. And Maria, you're a valued employee. We want to make sure you stay that way." Walking back to her car, Maria felt confused. She was grateful for the help, but something about Dave's explanation didn't feel complete. Why had Musk looked so strange when she mentioned Carlos's accident? And why had the payment been approved so quickly after their conversation? That evening, Maria picked up Sofia from after-school care as usual. Sofia was excited because Mrs. Rodriguez had given her extra math problems to work on. "She says I might be ready for 4th grade math even though I'm only in 2nd grade, Sofia said proudly. "That's wonderful, Mija. Your dad would be so proud. I wish I could remember him better." Maria's heart ached. Sofia had been only 6 when Carlos died. Her memories of him were already fading. "He loved you very much," Maria said. "And he would be amazed at how smart you are." At home, Maria made dinner while Sofia did her homework. But her mind kept wandering to the mystery of the rent payment. Something was bothering her about Dave's explanation. If Elon Musk regularly helped struggling employees, why had he looked so guilty when she mentioned Carlos's accident? Why had that specific detail seemed to upset him? After Sophia went to bed, Maria sat at her laptop and started searching for information about Elon Musk and employee assistance. She found a few articles about Tesla's official programs, but nothing about Musk personally helping workers. Then she started searching for information about Tesla and car accidents. Most of the results were about Tesla's safety features in autopilot technology. But she also found some news stories about accidents involving Tesla vehicles. One article mentioned that Tesla had faced some lawsuits over accidents where families claimed there were problems with the cars. But the cases seemed to get settled quickly and quietly, usually with the families agreeing not to talk about the details. Maria felt a chill run down her spine. Could Carlos have been driving a Tesla when he died? She tried to remember details from 2 years ago. The police report had said Carlos lost control on a rainy night and hit a tree. But Maria had been so devastated at the time that she hadn't paid attention to specifics, like what kind of car he was driving. Maria went to her bedroom closet and pulled out a box labeled Carlos' important papers. She had avoided looking through it since the funeral. But now she needed to know. Inside the box were Carlos's birth certificate, social security card, insurance papers, and other documents. At the bottom, she found a copy of the police report from the accident. Her hands shook as she read through it. The report said that Carlos had been driving a 2001 Tesla Model 3, license plate number 7GHJ891. The cause of the accident was listed as driver lost control due to wet road conditions. Maria dropped the report and stared at the wall. Carlos had been driving a Tesla when he died. And now, 2 years later, the CEO of Tesla was secretly paying her rent. This couldn't be a coincidence. But what did it mean? Was Musk helping her because he felt bad that one of his cars was involved in Carlos's death? Or was there something more? Maria's phone buzzed with a text message from an unknown number. "We need to talk. Meet me at the Silver Dollar Diner on Virginia Street tomorrow at 7 p.m. Come alone." A friend. Maria stared at the message. Who would send her something like this? And how did they get her phone number? She was about to delete the text when another message came through. "It's about Carlos and the Tesla. There are things you need to know." Maria's heart started pounding. Someone else knew about Carlos's accident. Someone who had information they hadn't shared with her before. She looked towards Sophia's bedroom, where her daughter was sleeping peacefully. For 2 years, Maria had accepted the official story about Carlos's death. She had been too grief-stricken to ask questions. But now she was starting to wonder if there was more to the story. And someone else seemed to think so too. Maria had a choice. She could ignore the text, accept Musk's help, and try to move on with her life. Or she could meet this mysterious person and find out what they knew about Carlos's accident. But if she started asking questions, she might not like the answers she found. Maria looked at the police report again. Carlos had been driving a Tesla Model 3, the same kind of car that thousands of people drove every day without any problems. So why did she have the feeling that Carlos's accident wasn't as simple as the police report made it seem? And why was Elon Musk paying her rent? Tomorrow, Maria decided, she would find out. Maria barely slept that night. Every hour, she checked her phone to see if more messages had come from the unknown number. But her phone stayed silent. By morning, she had almost convinced herself that the texts were either a cruel joke or some kind of scam. People sometimes tried to take advantage of grieving families, she reminded herself. But she couldn't stop thinking about the timing. How did this person know about Carlos driving a Tesla? That information wasn't public. It was buried in a police report that most people would never see. At work, Maria tried to focus on her tasks, but her mind kept wandering. During lunch break, she sat alone and searched the internet for more information about Tesla Model 3 accidents. She found several news reports about crashes, but nothing that seemed connected to Carlos. Jessica noticed that Maria was being unusually quiet. "You've been acting strange all week," Jessica said. "Is everything okay at home?" "Just tired," Maria replied. Sophia had a bad dream last night. It wasn't exactly a lie. Sophia had woken up around midnight asking for water, but Maria had been awake anyway, thinking about the mysterious texts. "Maybe you should take a day off," Jessica suggested. "You look exhausted." "I can't afford to miss work right now," Jessica gave her a concerned look but didn't push the subject. That afternoon, Maria got a call from Sophia's school. Mrs. Rodriguez wanted to discuss Sophia's progress in the advanced math program. "She's doing exceptionally well," Mrs. Rodriguez said when Maria arrived at the school. "But I'm a little concerned about her at home. She mentioned that you've been worried about something lately." Maria's heart sank. She thought she had been hiding her stress from Sophia. Is she having problems in class? Not with her schoolwork, but she seems anxious. Yesterday she asked me if people can get in trouble for asking too many questions. Maria felt terrible. Sophia was picking up on her mother's tension, even though Maria was trying to protect her from adult worries. "I'll talk to her," Maria promised. "Is there anything going on that I should know about?" "If you're having financial difficulties, the school has programs that might help." "We're managing okay," Maria said quickly. "Just some work stress." On the drive home, Maria made a decision. She would meet this mysterious person tonight, get whatever information they had, and then put the whole thing behind her. Sophia deserved a mother who wasn't constantly worried and distracted. That evening, Maria dropped Sophia off at her mother-in-law Carmen's house for dinner. Carmen lived in a small but tidy house in South Reno that she had owned for 20 years. "You look tired, Misha," Carmen said as they hugged. "Are you taking care of yourself?" "I'm fine, just working a lot." Carmen studied Maria's face with the sharp eyes of someone who had raised 5 children. "Is there something you're not telling me?" Maria hesitated. Carmen had a right to know if there was something suspicious about Carlos's death. But what if the text messages were fake? What if Maria was just creating drama where none existed? "Do you ever think about Carlos's accident?" Maria asked carefully. Carmen's expression grew sad. "Every day." "Why do you ask?" "I've been wondering if the police investigated everything properly." "What do you mean?" "I found the police report." "Did you know he was driving a Tesla?" "Of course I knew. He was so proud of that car. Spent months saving up for it, talking about how it would help the environment. But what if something was wrong with the car? What if the accident wasn't really his fault?" Carmen's face hardened. "Maria, Carlos is gone. Asking these questions won't bring him back. But what if there's something we don't know? What if other families went through the same thing? And knowing about it won't change anything for us. You have Sophia to think about now. You can't spend your life looking backward." Maria nodded, but she wasn't satisfied. Carmen meant well, but she didn't know about the strange coincidences that were piling up. After dinner, Maria hugged Sophia goodbye and drove to the Silver Dollar Diner on Virginia Street. It was an old-fashioned place with red vinyl booths and black and white checkered floors. The parking lot was mostly empty, except for a few cars and a motorcycle. Maria sat in her car for a few minutes, watching the entrance. She still didn't know who she was supposed to meet or what they looked like. Part of her hoped they wouldn't show up. At exactly 7 p.m., a woman in her 40s walked into the diner. She had short brown hair and wore a dark jacket and jeans. She looked around the restaurant, made eye contact with Maria through the window, and nodded. Maria's heart started racing as she got out of her car and walked inside. The woman had chosen a booth in the back corner, away from the other customers. "Maria Santos?" the woman asked as Maria approached. "Yes, I'm Rebecca Walsh. Please, sit down." Maria slid into the booth across from Rebecca. "How do you know who I am?" "I've been investigating your husband's accident for the past 8 months." "Why?" Rebecca looked around the diner to make sure no one was listening, then leaned forward and spoke quietly. "Because I think Tesla covered up the real cause of the crash." Maria felt like someone had punched her in the stomach. "What are you talking about?" "I'm a journalist. I specialize in investigating corporate cover-ups. I've been looking into several accidents involving Tesla vehicles where the official cause was listed as driver error, but the evidence suggests otherwise." Rebecca pulled out a tablet and showed Maria a photo of a crashed Tesla Model 3. The car is wrapped around a tree, the front end completely destroyed. "This is your husband's car," Rebecca said softly. Maria stared at the photo. She had never seen pictures of the accident scene before. The damage was much worse than she had imagined. "The police report says Carlos lost control on a wet road," Rebecca continued. "But look at this." She swiped to another photo showing skid marks on the pavement. "These marks suggest the car accelerated suddenly rather than losing traction. And see this section of road?" She pointed to an area near where the skid marks started. The pavement here was actually repaired 2 months before the accident. It has better grip than the older sections. Maria's hands started trembling. Are you saying the car malfunctioned? I'm saying the evidence doesn't match the official story. And I think someone at Tesla knows it. Rebecca showed Maria more photos and documents. Police reports that seemed incomplete. Insurance claims that were settled unusually quickly. Other families who had received large payments from Tesla in exchange for agreeing not to discuss their cases. How many accidents are we talking about? Maria asked. I've documented 15 cases similar to Carlos's over the past 3 years. All involving Tesla Model 3s manufactured between 2020 and 2022. All officially blamed on driver error. All settled quietly with families who signed agreements not to talk about the details. But we never got any settlement money. That's what makes your case different. For some reason, Tesla never contacted your family. Maybe they thought you wouldn't ask questions. Maybe they planned to reach out later, and something changed their minds. Maria thought about her meeting with Elon Musk and the mysterious rent payment. What if they're trying to help me now to keep me quiet? Rebecca's eyes widened. Has Tesla done anything unusual for you recently? Maria hesitated. Dave Morrison had warned her not to discuss the rent payment with other employees. But Rebecca wasn't a Tesla employee. Someone from the company paid my rent this week, Maria admitted, without me asking for help. When did this happen? Right after I met with Elon Musk. I mentioned that I was struggling financially, and the next day my rent got paid. Rebecca took notes on her tablet. This fits the pattern perfectly. Tesla identifies families who might ask questions about accidents. Then they offer financial help to keep them happy and quiet. But nobody told me to stay quiet about anything. They don't have to. The message is clear. Tesla is taking care of you, so don't bite the hand that feeds you. Maria stared at the photos of Carlos's destroyed car. 2 years ago, she had been too heartbroken to question the police report. She just wanted the pain to stop. But now, looking at the evidence Rebecca had gathered, she realized she might have been lied to. What do you need from me? Maria asked. Rebecca smiled for the first time since they had started talking. I need your help to get inside Tesla. I need someone who can access their internal systems and find documentation about these accidents and cover-ups. I'm just a battery technician. I don't have access to that kind of information. But you work there. And more importantly, Elon Musk apparently feels guilty about what happened to Carlos. That gives you an opportunity that I don't have. You want me to confront him. I want you to ask him directly about Carlos's accident. See how he reacts. If he really did arrange to pay your rent because he feels responsible for your husband's death, then he knows more than he's telling you. Maria's head was spinning. 3 days ago, her biggest worry was paying rent on time. Now she was being asked to investigate her husband's death and potentially expose one of the world's most powerful companies. I need time to think about this, Maria said. Of course. But Maria, there's something else you should know. Rebecca showed Maria one more document on her tablet. This is an internal Tesla email from 4 months ago. It mentions monitoring several families, including the Santos situation, to watch for any signs of legal action or media attention. Maria read the email twice. Tesla had been watching her family for months, waiting to see if she would start asking questions about Carlos's death. They knew I might figure it out eventually, Maria whispered. They've been preparing for this conversation. The question is, what are you going to do about it? Maria looked at the photo of Carlos's car one more time. Her husband had died in that twisted metal, and someone might have lied to her about why. If I help you, what happens to my job? What happens to Sophia? I can't promise this will be easy. But Maria, if we can prove that Tesla knew about a safety defect and covered it up, we can prevent other families from going through what you've experienced. And if we can't prove it, then at least you'll know you tried to find the truth. As Maria drove home that night, her mind raced with everything Rebecca had told her. By the time she picked up Sophia from Carmen's house, she had made a decision. She was going to find out what really happened to Carlos, no matter what it cost her. But first, she needed to make sure Sophia would be safe. Because if Tesla really had been covering up fatal accidents, they might not want Maria digging into the truth. And they definitely wouldn't want her talking to journalists about it. Maria spent the weekend thinking about everything Rebecca had told her. She was careful not to use her home computer to research Tesla accidents, remembering Rebecca's warning that the company might be monitoring her internet activity. Instead, she went to the Reno Public Library and used their computers to search for more information. What she found made her stomach turn. There were news reports about Tesla accidents that seemed similar to Carlos's crash, but most of the stories were short and didn't include many details. More troubling were the stories that seemed to disappear. Maria found references to accidents in online forums, but when she clicked the links, the articles were gone. Error messages said the pages could no longer be found. Someone was definitely cleaning up the internet. On Sunday evening, Maria got a text from Rebecca. "Have you made a decision? Time is important. Tesla is working on new software updates that might destroy evidence." Maria stared at the message for a long time. She thought about Carlos, about Sophia's future, about all the other families who might be going through the same thing. She texted back, "I'm in. What do you need me to do?" Rebecca's response came immediately. "Meet me tomorrow after work. Same place. We need to make a plan." That night, Maria lay awake thinking about what she was about to do. She could lose her job. She could be sued. She could put Sophia's future at risk. But she kept thinking about the photo of Carlos's destroyed car and the email showing that Tesla had been watching her family. The next morning at work, Maria paid closer attention to everything around her. She noticed security cameras in every hallway, employee badges that tracked where people went, and computer systems that required passwords for almost everything. During lunch, she walked around the Tesla facility, trying to understand the layout better. The building where she had met Elon Musk was separate from the main factory, with its own security guards and keycard readers. The engineering department was connected to the factory floor, but it had restricted access. Only certain employees were allowed in that section. Jessica found Maria wandering near the engineering area. "What are you doing over here?" Jessica asked, looking confused. "Just exploring. I've worked here for 3 years, but I've never really seen this part of the building. You're not supposed to be here without permission. They're really strict about people going into the technical areas." "Why?" "Trade secrets, I guess. All the car design and computer programming happens over there. They don't want competitors stealing information." Maria nodded and followed Jessica back to their workstation. She was starting to understand how difficult it would be to get the information Rebecca needed. That afternoon, Maria was surprised when her supervisor Tom Williams came to find her. "Maria, Dave Morrison wants to see you in HR again," Tom said. Her heart started racing. "Am I in trouble?" He didn't say. "But you should probably go now." Maria's hands were sweating as she walked to the HR building. Had they somehow found out about her meeting with Rebecca? Did they know she was asking questions about Carlos's accident? Dave's office felt smaller and more intimidating than before. He gestured for Maria to sit down, but his friendly smile from last week was gone. "How are things going, Maria?" Dave asked. "Fine. Everything's good. I wanted to follow up on our conversation about the financial assistance you received. Have you had any questions or concerns?" "No questions. I'm very grateful for the help." "Good. I also wanted to remind you about Tesla's confidentiality policies. We take employee privacy very seriously, which is why we don't publicize our assistance programs." Maria tried to keep her voice steady. "I understand. I hope you do." Sometimes employees get curious about how these programs work. They try to find out who specifically approved their assistance, or they start asking questions about the company's internal processes. That kind of investigation can create serious problems for everyone involved. Dave's tone was still polite, but Maria could hear the threat clearly. They knew she had been asking questions. "I won't cause any problems," Maria said. "I'm sure you won't. You're a good employee. Maria, you have a daughter to think about. We want to make sure you can keep providing for her." The message was crystal clear. Keep quiet, or lose your job and your ability to support Sophia. "I understand completely," Maria said. "Excellent. Oh, and? Maria, if anyone contacts you asking questions about Tesla or your employment here, please let me know immediately. We've had issues with reporters trying to get information from employees. They sometimes make promises they can't keep." Maria's blood ran cold. Did they know about Rebecca? "Of course," she managed to say. After leaving Dave's office, Maria felt like she was being watched. She wondered if they had cameras in the parking lot, if they were tracking her phone, if they knew everywhere she went. But she also felt angry. Tesla was clearly trying to intimidate her into staying quiet. That made her more determined than ever to find out what they were hiding. That evening, Maria met Rebecca at the Silver Dollar Diner again. This time, Rebecca had brought someone with her, a thin man with glasses who looked nervous. "This is Daniel Kim," Rebecca said. "He used to work for Tesla as a software engineer." Daniel shook Maria's hand. "I worked on the Model 3's computer systems until last year." "Why did you leave?" Maria asked. Daniel glanced around the diner before answering. "I was fired. Officially for poor performance, but really because I kept asking questions about accident reports." "What kind of questions?" "I noticed problems in the software logs. Sometimes the car's computer would get conflicting information from different sensors, and the default response was to accelerate instead of brake." Maria felt sick. "You're saying the cars were programmed to speed up when they should have slowed down?" "Not exactly. But when the computer couldn't decide what to do, it would choose what Tesla called the aggressive safety response. The idea was that it's better to accelerate away from danger than to brake and possibly get hit from behind. But that doesn't work if the danger is in front of you," Maria realized. Right, and the problem was worse in bad weather when the sensors were getting mixed signals from rain or snow. Maria thought about the night Carlos died. It had been raining heavily. Rebecca showed Daniel the police report from Carlos's accident. "Would this crash pattern be consistent with the software problem you identified?" Daniel studied the report carefully. "Yes. The car would have detected that it was losing grip on the wet road, but instead of slowing down gradually, it would have tried to accelerate out of the skid. On a curve, with a tree ahead." He didn't need to finish the sentence. Everyone at the table understood what had happened to Carlos. "Did you report this problem to your supervisors?" Maria asked. "Multiple times. They said they were investigating, but nothing ever changed. Then I started getting excluded from meetings. My projects got reassigned to other people, and finally they fired me." "Do you have any proof of the software problem?" Daniel hesitated. "I kept some emails and code samples when I left, but using them could get me in serious legal trouble. Tesla makes employees sign very strict agreements about not sharing company information. What if we could prove that Tesla knew about the defect and deliberately hid it?" Rebecca asked. "What if we could show that they covered up accidents to protect their stock price? That might change things." Daniel admitted. "If they were breaking the law, my agreement with them might not be valid anymore." Rebecca turned to Maria. "That's where you come in. Daniel's information shows there was a software problem. My research shows a pattern of covered-up accidents. But we need proof that Tesla management knew about the connection between the software and the crashes. How am I supposed to get that kind of proof? You work there. You have access to the building and the computer systems. And most importantly, you have a connection to Elon Musk. He's already shown that he feels guilty about Carlos's death. You want me to confront him directly. I want you to have a conversation with him about Carlos's accident. Ask him what he knows. See how he reacts." Maria shook her head. "He's not going to just confess to me. Maybe not, but he might say something that helps us understand what Tesla knows and when they knew it." Daniel leaned forward. "Maria, there's something else you should consider. If we don't expose this problem, more people are going to die. The software issue I identified affects thousands of cars that are still on the road. But Tesla must have fixed it by now, right? They've released software updates, but they've never admitted there was a problem, and they've never recalled the cars or warned owners about the risk." Maria thought about all the Tesla Model 3s she saw driving around Reno every day. How many of them still had the same software defect that killed Carlos? "What exactly do you need me to do?" Maria asked. Rebecca pulled out a small device that looked like a pen. "This is a digital voice recorder. It's completely undetectable, and it can capture clear audio from up to 20 feet away." "You want me to secretly record Elon Musk?" "I want you to record any conversation you have with Tesla management about Carlos's accident. If they admit that they knew about the software problem, we can use that evidence to expose the whole cover-up. And if I get caught, you'll definitely lose your job. You might face criminal charges for corporate espionage. But Maria, you'll also be preventing future deaths." Maria stared at the tiny recorder. A month ago, she was just trying to pay her bills and raise her daughter. Now she was being asked to secretly record one of the most powerful men in the world. "How would I even get another meeting with him?" Maria asked. "Leave that to me," Rebecca said. I'm going to publish a story about mysterious employee assistance programs at tech companies. When it comes out, Tesla will want to control the story. They'll arrange for you to meet with Musk again to talk about your positive experience with the company. You think that will work? I think Musk's ego won't let him pass up a chance to look like a caring boss. And his guilt about Carlos will make him want to convince you that Tesla is a good company that takes care of its people. Daniel added, once you're in a room with him, just ask about Carlos's accident. Tell him you've been thinking about it and you have questions. He'll either tell you the truth or he'll lie in a way that reveals what he really knows. Maria picked up the recorder. It was heavier than it looked, and it felt dangerous in her hand. When would this happen? She asked. Soon. I'll publish the story tomorrow. Within a few days, Tesla's public relations team will contact you. What if something goes wrong? What if they figure out what I'm doing? Rebecca's expression became serious. Then you need to be prepared to run. Pack a bag for you and Sophia. Have some cash ready. Know where you can go if you need to disappear for a while. Disappear? Maria. We're talking about exposing a cover-up that could cost Tesla billions of dollars and destroy Elon Musk's reputation. If they realize what you're doing, they might try to stop you. Are you saying they would hurt me? I'm saying they would do whatever it takes to protect themselves. And right now, you're the biggest threat they face. Maria thought about Sophia, sleeping safely at home. Her daughter had already lost her father. Maria couldn't risk making Sophia an orphan. But she also couldn't stop thinking about all the other families who had lost loved ones in crashes that might have been prevented. If I do this, Maria said slowly, and if we get the evidence we need, what happens then? Then we go public with everything. The software defect, the cover-ups, the payments to families. Tesla will be forced to recall the affected cars and compensate everyone who was hurt. And Carlos? Carlos will get justice. His death will mean something. Maria closed her eyes and tried to imagine what Carlos would want her to do. He had always believed in doing the right thing, even when it was difficult. When she opened her eyes, Rebecca and Daniel were watching her carefully. Okay, Maria said, slipping the recorder into her purse. I'll do it. But as she drove home that night, Maria wondered if she was making the biggest mistake of her life. Tomorrow, Rebecca would publish her story, and then there would be no turning back. Maria barely slept Tuesday night. She kept checking her phone, waiting for Rebecca's article to appear online. At 6 a.m., Rebecca sent her a link with a simple message. It's done. The headline read, Tech Giants' Secret Employee Help Programs. Kindness or Control. The article talked about several companies that quietly helped struggling workers, but it focused heavily on Tesla's mysterious financial assistance programs. Rebecca had been careful not to mention Maria by name, but she included quotes from a single mother at a major electric car company who had received unexpected help after meeting with the CEO. Maria's hands shook as she read the article. There was no going back now. At work that morning, Maria felt like everyone was staring at her. She knew it was probably her imagination, but every conversation seemed to stop when she walked by. During her lunch break, Jessica cornered her in the cafeteria. Did you see that article online about Tesla? Jessica asked quietly. What article? Some reporter is claiming that Elon Musk secretly helps employees who are having money problems. The story mentions someone who sounds a lot like you. Maria tried to look confused. What do you mean? A single mother who met with Musk and then got financial help. Come on, Maria. That's obviously about you. I don't know what you're talking about. Jessica lowered her voice even more. Look, I'm your friend. If something's going on, you can tell me. Nothing's going on. I'm just trying to do my job. But Jessica didn't look convinced. That afternoon, Maria was called to the main office again. This time, it wasn't just Dave Morrison waiting for her. There was also a woman in an expensive suit who introduced herself as Jennifer Hayes from Tesla's legal department. Please sit down, Maria, Dave said. His friendly tone from previous meetings was completely gone. We've seen the article that was published this morning, Jennifer said, pulling out a tablet. We believe it contains information that could only have come from a Tesla employee. Maria's heart pounded, but she tried to stay calm. I haven't talked to any reporters. The article quotes someone who recently met with Mr. Musk and received financial assistance. There are very few employees who fit that description. Lots of people meet with Mr. Musk. Jennifer showed Maria the article on her tablet. This person told the reporter specific details about their meeting and the assistance they received. Details that would violate your employment agreement if you shared them. I signed a lot of papers when I started working here. I don't remember everything that was in them. Dave leaned forward. Maria, your employment contract includes strict confidentiality clauses. Sharing internal information with outside parties, especially reporters, is grounds for immediate termination and potentially criminal charges, Jennifer added. Corporate espionage is a serious crime. Maria felt trapped, but she forced herself to speak calmly. I haven't done anything wrong. Then you won't mind if we search your work area and personal belongings, Jennifer said. Don't I have rights? Shouldn't there be a union representative here or something? Jennifer smiled coldly. Tesla employees aren't unionized, and you have the right to refuse the search, but that would result in your immediate termination for failure to cooperate with the company investigation. Maria realized she had no choice. Fine. Search whatever you want. The search was humiliating. Security guards went through Maria's locker, her workstation, and even her purse. They found the digital recorder Rebecca had given her and held it up like evidence of a crime. What's this? Jennifer asked. Maria's mind raced. It's for recording notes to myself. I use it to remember things I need to do at home. Can we listen to what's on it? There's nothing on it. I just got it. Jennifer handed the recorder to one of the security guards, who plugged it into a computer. After a few minutes, he shook his head. It's empty, he said. Jennifer looked disappointed but not surprised. We're confiscating this device. Recording equipment is not allowed in secure areas of the facility. Am I fired? Maria asked. Dave and Jennifer exchanged glances. Not yet, Dave said. But you're being placed on administrative leave pending the outcome of our investigation. What does that mean? It means you're suspended without pay until we determine whether you violated company policy. Maria felt sick. Without her Tesla paycheck, she wouldn't be able to pay rent or buy groceries. Sophia would have to know that something was seriously wrong. How long will the investigation take? Maria asked. As long as necessary, Jennifer said. We'll be in touch. Walking to her car, Maria felt defeated. Her plan to secretly record Elon Musk was ruined before it even started. Tesla had outsmarted her. But as she drove home, Maria realized that their reaction proved Rebecca was right. If Tesla had nothing to hide, why were they so desperate to silence her? She called Rebecca from her car. They found the recorder, Maria said. I was afraid that might happen. Are you okay? I'm suspended without pay. They basically called me a corporate spy. This is actually good news, Rebecca said. How is any of this good news? Because it proves they're scared. They wouldn't react this strongly unless they were trying to hide something important. But now I can't get close to Musk. The plan is ruined. Not necessarily. Meet me tonight. I have another idea. That evening, Maria met Rebecca at a different location, a small coffee shop on the other side of town. Rebecca looked excited despite everything that had happened. Tesla made a mistake today, Rebecca said. By suspending you and searching your belongings, they've basically admitted that you're a threat to them. Great. Now I'm unemployed and they think I'm a spy. But here's what they don't know. I recorded our conversation last night. Rebecca showed Maria her own small recording device. I have you on tape agreeing to help investigate Carlos's accident. That gives me legal protection to publish your story. What do you mean? I'm going to write an article specifically about you, about Carlos's accident, about Tesla paying your rent, about them suspending you for asking questions. The whole story. Maria felt terrified. That will ruin my life. Or it will save other people's lives. Maria, once your story is public, Tesla won't be able to silence you anymore, and other employees might come forward with their own information. What if they sue me? Let them try. Suing the widow of an accident victim for asking questions about her husband's death would be a public relations nightmare for Tesla. Rebecca pulled out her laptop and opened a new document. I need you to tell me everything. Every detail about Carlos's accident, about your meeting with Musk, about the rent payment, about today's interrogation. For the next 2 hours, Maria told Rebecca her whole story. She talked about the night Carlos died, about struggling to pay bills as a single mother, about the strange guilt in Musk's eyes when she mentioned the accident. There's something else, Maria said, as they were finishing. When Dave Morrison warned me not to talk to reporters, he seemed to know that someone had already contacted me. Like they were monitoring my phone or my email. They probably are, Rebecca said. Big companies do that all the time when they think an employee might be a security risk. So they know about our meetings? Possibly. But it doesn't matter now. Once this story is published, everything will be out in the open. Rebecca closed her laptop. The article will go live tomorrow morning. After that, Tesla will have to respond publicly instead of trying to intimidate you in private. What should I expect? Phone calls from other reporters. Maybe calls from lawyers offering to represent you. Definitely a response from Tesla trying to discredit you. And then what? Then we see if other people come forward. Families of other accident victims. Current and former Tesla employees who know about the cover-up. If enough people speak up, we can force a real investigation. As Maria drove home, she thought about how much her life had changed in just 1 week. 7 days ago, she was worried about paying rent. Now she was about to become the face of a corporate scandal. But she kept thinking about Daniel's words. If they didn't expose the software problem, more people would die. At home, Sophia was waiting for her with homework questions and stories about her day. Maria tried to act normal, but Sophia could tell something was wrong. "Mom, why are you home early?" Sophia asked. "I had some meetings today. I might be taking a few days off work." "Are you sick?" "No, Mija, just tired." That night, after Sophia was asleep, Maria sat at her kitchen table and thought about Carlos. She wondered what he would think about everything she was doing. Carlos had always believed in standing up for what was right, even when it was difficult. When they were dating, he had quit a job because his boss was cheating customers. He said he couldn't sleep at night knowing he was part of something dishonest. Now Maria understood how he felt. Her phone buzzed with a text from Rebecca. Article goes live at 6 a.m. "Are you ready?" Maria looked around their small apartment. Tomorrow, everything would change. Tesla would probably try to destroy her reputation. Other reporters would want to interview her. She might never be able to get another job in Nevada. But somewhere out there, other Tesla Model 3s were driving on wet roads with the same software defect that killed Carlos. Other families were at risk of going through the same nightmare she had experienced. Maria texted back, "I'm ready." She just hoped she was strong enough for what came next. Maria's phone started ringing at 5:47 a.m. The first call was from a number she didn't recognize. Then another. By 6:15, she had received 12 missed calls and 37 text messages. Rebecca's article had gone viral. The headline read, "Tesla employees suspended after questioning husband's fatal crash." The story included everything: Carlos's accident, the mysterious rent payment, Maria's suspension, and Tesla's aggressive response to her questions. Maria's phone rang again. This time she answered. "Mrs. Santos? This is Channel 8 News. We'd like to interview you about your experience with Tesla." "I can't talk right now," Maria said, hanging up quickly. Sophia came into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. "Mom, why is your phone making so much noise?" "Just work stuff, Mija. Go get ready for school." But Maria knew their quiet life was over. By the time she drove Sophia to school, there were 2 news vans parked outside their apartment building. At school, Mrs. Rodriguez pulled Maria aside. "I saw the news story online," she said quietly. "Are you and Sophia going to be okay?" "I hope so. If you need anything, someone to watch Sophia, a place to stay, please let me know." Maria was grateful for the offer, but she could see the concern in Mrs. Rodriguez's eyes. Everyone was wondering if Maria had made a terrible mistake. After dropping Sophia off, Maria drove to a different coffee shop across town to meet Rebecca. The parking lot of their usual meeting place was full of reporters. "This is bigger than I expected," Rebecca said when Maria sat down. "The story has been shared over 50,000 times in the past 3 hours. Is that good or bad?" "It's powerful. Look at this." Rebecca showed Maria her laptop screen. The comments on the article were overwhelmingly supportive. People were sharing their own stories about losing loved ones in car accidents. Others were questioning whether their own Tesla vehicles were safe. But there were also angry comments calling Maria a liar and a money grabber trying to destroy an innovative company. "Tesla released a statement an hour ago," Rebecca said, pulling up another web page. Maria read Tesla's response with growing anger. The company claimed that Maria was a disgruntled former employee who was spreading false information after being terminated for policy violations. They said Carlos's accident had been thoroughly investigated by local authorities, and that Tesla vehicles had the highest safety ratings in the industry. "They're calling me a liar," Maria said. "They're scared. And they just made their second big mistake." "What was their first mistake?" "Suspending you. Their second mistake was calling you a disgruntled employee. That implies you were fired for cause, which isn't true. You were suspended pending investigation." Rebecca's phone buzzed with a text message. She read it and smiled. "Daniel wants to meet with us. He says Tesla's statement this morning changes everything." An hour later, they met Daniel at a small restaurant on the outskirts of Reno. He looked nervous but determined. "I've been thinking about what Tesla said in their statement," Daniel said. "They claim that all their vehicles have been thoroughly tested and are completely safe." "Isn't that what they always say?" Maria asked. "Yes, but now they've said it in response to specific allegations about the software problem I identified. If I can prove that they knew about the defect and didn't fix it, their statement becomes a lie told to the public to protect their stock price." "What does that mean?" "It means my non-disclosure agreement with Tesla is void. I can share the technical documents I kept when they fired me." Daniel pulled out a thick folder and set it on the table. "These are emails between Tesla engineers discussing the acceleration problem, code samples showing the defective software, internal reports about accidents that Tesla never made public." Maria stared at the folder. "This proves they knew?" "It proves they knew there was a problem with the software. It proves they received accident reports that suggested the problem was causing crashes. And it proves they decided to keep it quiet instead of fixing it." Rebecca opened the folder and started reading through the documents. Her eyes got wider with each page. "Daniel, this is incredible. These emails show that Tesla engineers identified the problem 18 months before Carlos's accident." "Keep reading," Daniel said grimly. Rebecca turned to another document, an internal Tesla email dated 3 weeks after Carlos died. "The Santos incident fits the pattern we've been tracking." Rebecca read aloud. "Recommend continued monitoring of family for potential legal action." Maria felt like she had been punched in the stomach. Tesla had known that Carlos's accident was caused by their software defect, and they had been watching her family to make sure she didn't figure it out. "There's more," Daniel said, pointing to another email. "Look at this message from Tesla's legal department." Rebecca read the next email. "If Santos family pursues investigation, recommend financial assistance to discourage legal action. Musk has approved up to $50,000 for direct employee assistance if needed. They planned to pay my rent from the beginning," Maria whispered. "It wasn't kindness. It was a bribe." "They were buying your silence," Rebecca confirmed. "And when that didn't work, they tried to intimidate you." Daniel pointed to the last document in the folder. "This is the worst part. It's a software update that Tesla released 6 months ago. It fixes the acceleration problem, but they never told customers why the update was necessary. So they did fix it? They fixed it quietly, without admitting there was ever a problem. And they never recalled the older cars or warned people about the risk." Maria thought about all the Tesla Model 3s from 2020-2022 that were still on the road with the dangerous software. How many people could die because Tesla won't admit they made a mistake? She asked. "Thousands," Daniel said simply. Rebecca was taking notes as fast as she could write. "Daniel, are you willing to go on the record with this information?" After seeing Tesla's statement this morning, yes. They called Maria a liar, but these documents prove she's telling the truth. "What happens now?" Maria asked. "Now we go public with everything," Rebecca said. "The technical documents, the emails, the cover-up, all of it. And then Tesla has to respond. They'll either have to admit they knew about the problem, or they'll have to explain why their own internal documents contradict their public statements." Maria's phone buzzed with yet another call from a reporter. She was about to decline it when she saw the caller ID Dave Morrison from Tesla HR. "I should take this," she told Rebecca and Daniel. "Maria, this is Dave Morrison. We need to talk." "About what?" "About resolving this situation before it gets any worse. Can you come to the office this afternoon? I'm suspended, remember? I'm not allowed on Tesla property. We're prepared to lift your suspension and offer you a substantial financial package to help you move forward." Maria looked at Rebecca and Daniel, who were listening to her side of the conversation. "What kind of financial package?" Let's discuss it in person. Say 2 p.m. in my office. I'll think about it. After hanging up, Maria told Rebecca and Daniel about the call. They're panicking, Rebecca said. They want to buy you off before more evidence comes out. Should I meet with them? Absolutely, Daniel said. But not to take their money. To record everything they say. Rebecca pulled out another small recording device. They took your first recorder, but they don't know about this one. You want me to go back there? I want you to give them a chance to tell the truth. Ask them directly about Carlos's accident. Ask them about the software problem. See what they're willing to admit. And if they don't admit anything, then we publish Daniel's documents and let the public decide who's telling the truth. Maria took the recorder, feeling the weight of it in her hand. This was her last chance to get answers from Tesla directly. What should I ask them? Ask them why they paid your rent, Rebecca said. Ask them what they know about Carlos's accident. Ask them about the software problem Daniel identified. And if they threaten me, then you'll have that on tape too. That afternoon, Maria drove to Tesla for what she knew would be the last time as an employee. The Roper were gone from the parking lot, but she could see security guards watching her as she walked to the HR building. Dave Morrison was waiting for her, along with Jennifer Hayes from legal and a man she didn't recognize. Maria, thank you for coming, Dave said. This is Robert Chen, our Director of Employee Relations. They sat around a conference table with a stack of papers in front of Dave. We've prepared a separation agreement, Dave said. It includes 6 months of salary, continuation of your health insurance, and a $75,000 settlement payment. Maria looked at the number. It was more money than she had ever seen. In exchange for what? Your agreement not to make any further public statements about Tesla or your employment here. What about Carlos's accident? Jennifer leaned forward. The police investigation concluded that your husband's death was caused by driver error and adverse weather conditions. Tesla had nothing to do with the accident. But what if new evidence suggests otherwise? There is no new evidence, Robert said firmly. Your husband's death was a tragedy, but it wasn't caused by any defect in Tesla vehicles. Maria reached into her purse and turned on the recorder. Then why did you pay my rent? She asked. Why did Elon Musk personally approve financial assistance for me? The 3 Tesla executives exchanged glances. Mr. Musk sometimes helps employees who are going through difficult times, Dave said carefully. It was a gesture of compassion, not an admission of liability. But you were watching my family for months before that. Your own emails talk about monitoring the Santos situation. Jennifer's face went pale. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm referring to internal Tesla documents that show you knew Carlos's accident was caused by a software defect in the Model 3. Robert stood up abruptly. This meeting is over. Maria, you need to leave Tesla property immediately. Why? Because I'm asking questions you don't want to answer? Because you're making false accusations that could damage Tesla's reputation and stock price? Or because you're afraid I'll find out the truth about how my husband really died? Jennifer grabbed the settlement papers. The offer is withdrawn. You'll be hearing from our legal department. As Maria walked back to her car, she realized that Tesla had just confirmed everything she suspected. If they had nothing to hide, they would have answered her questions. Instead, they had threatened her and thrown her out. That evening, Maria met with Rebecca and Daniel one more time. I got them on tape, she said, playing back the recording. They wouldn't answer any of my questions about Carlos's accident or the software problem. Perfect, Rebecca said. Combined with Daniel's documents, this proves that Tesla is hiding something. What happens now? Now we publish everything. The technical documents, the emails about monitoring your family, the recording of today's meeting. All of it. And then Tesla will have to face the truth about what they've done. As Maria drove home that night, she thought about Carlos and about all the other families who had lost loved ones in preventable accidents. Tomorrow, the world would know what Tesla had been hiding. And finally, Carlos would get the justice he deserved. Rebecca's second article published at dawn on Friday morning. The headline read, Internal Tesla Documents Reveal Cover-Up of Fatal Software Defect. Within minutes, it was the top story on every major news website. Maria's phone started ringing before 6 a.m. This time, she was ready. The first call was from Good Morning America. The second was from CNN. By 7 a.m., 3 news trucks were parked outside her apartment building, and reporters were knocking on her door. Mom, there are people with cameras outside, Sophia said. peeking through the blinds. I know, Mija. We're gonna stay inside today. Maria had already called Sophia's school to say she wouldn't be coming in. Mrs. Rodriguez understood and promised to send homework home with one of Sophia's classmates. At 8 a.m., Rebecca called. Maria, you need to see this, Rebecca said. Tesla's stock price has dropped 12% since the market opened. Is that good or bad for us? It's proof that people are taking this seriously. The financial markets believe our story. What about Tesla? Have they said anything? They released another statement an hour ago. They're calling the documents fake and threatening to sue me for publishing classified information. Are you worried? Not at all. Daniel confirmed that every document is authentic. Tesla's threats just make them look more guilty. By 10 a.m., Maria had received interview requests from 67 news organizations. She also got a call that surprised her. Mrs. Santos, this is attorney Michael Rodriguez from the law firm Davidson & Associates. We specialize in corporate liability cases. I can't afford a lawyer. You don't need to pay us. We work on contingency, which means we only get paid if we win your case against Tesla. What kind of case? Wrongful death. Based on the evidence that's been published, we believe Tesla knew their software was dangerous and failed to warn customers or fix the problem. Maria thought about the $75,000 Tesla had offered her yesterday. A lawsuit could mean much more money, but it would also mean years of fighting. Can I think about it? Of course. But Mrs. Santos, you should know that we've been contacted by families of 12 other Tesla accident victims. If we can prove Tesla covered up the software defect, this could become a class action lawsuit affecting thousands of people. After hanging up, Maria felt overwhelmed. She had started this journey just wanting to understand why Elon Musk paid her rent. Now she was at the center of what might become one of the biggest corporate scandals in years. At noon, her phone rang with a call from a number she recognized, Tesla's main line. Maria, this is Jennifer Hayes from Tesla Legal. We need to talk. I thought you didn't want to talk to me anymore. The situation has changed. We're prepared to make you a much more substantial offer to resolve this matter. How substantial? $5 million. Plus a guarantee that Tesla will recall all affected vehicles and implement the software fix immediately. Maria was speechless. $5 million would change Sophia's life forever. She could go to any college she wanted. They could buy a house. Maria would never have to worry about money again. In exchange for what? Your agreement to end all media interviews and public statements about Tesla. You would also need to ask your journalist friend to retract her articles. And if I say no, then Tesla will fight this with every resource we have. We'll prove that your husband's accident was his fault, not ours. We'll show that you're just a disgruntled employee trying to get rich by attacking a successful company. Can I have time to think about it? You have until 5 p.m. today. After that, the offer is withdrawn permanently. Maria hung up and immediately called Rebecca. They offered me $5 million. Maria said, "Wow, they're really scared. Should I take it? That's not my decision to make. But Maria, think about why they're offering so much money. It's because they know we have proof that they've been lying. But $5 million would solve all my problems. It would solve your financial problems. But would it solve your conscience problems?" Maria knew what Rebecca meant. If she took Tesla's money and stayed quiet, other families would never know the truth about their loved ones' deaths. What happens if I say no? Then we keep fighting. More evidence will come out. Other families will join the lawsuit. Eventually, Tesla will have to face the truth. And what happens to me? Tesla will try to destroy your reputation. They'll claim you're lying, that you're mentally unstable, that you're just after money. It won't be easy. That afternoon, Maria sat at her kitchen table with Sophia, who was working on her math homework. "Mom, why are there so many people outside?" Sophia asked. "Remember how I told you that Daddy died in a car accident?" "Yes. Well, I found out that maybe the accident wasn't really Daddy's fault. Maybe there was something wrong with the car." Sophia looked up from her homework. "Like the car was broken? Something like that. Are you trying to fix it so other daddies don't get hurt?" The simple question hit Maria harder than all the legal threats and media attention. "Yes, Mija. That's exactly what I'm trying to do." "Then you should keep trying." At 4:30 p.m., Maria called Jennifer Hayes back. "I've made my decision," Maria said. "And, no, I won't take your money." There was a long pause. Maria, you're making a serious mistake. Tesla has unlimited resources to foot this. Maybe. But I have something Tesla doesn't have. What's that? The truth. The truth won't pay your bills or send your daughter to college. The truth will help me sleep at night knowing I did the right thing. After hanging up, Maria felt scared but also relieved. She had chosen justice over money, just like Carlos would have wanted. That evening, Daniel called with news. 3 more Tesla engineers contacted me today, he said. They want to share information about the software problems they've identified. Are they willing to go public? 2 of them are. They're tired of being told to stay quiet while people die in preventable accidents. What about the 3rd one? He's still scared of losing his job. But if enough people speak up, he might find the courage. Over the weekend, the story continued to grow. CNN ran a special investigation featuring interviews with Daniel and 3 other former Tesla employees. 60 Minutes announced they were preparing a segment about Tesla's safety cover-ups. On Sunday morning, Maria was surprised by a knock on her door. When she looked through the peephole, she saw Elon Musk standing alone on her doorstep. Maria's heart raced as she opened the door. "Mr. Musk? Maria, we need to talk." He looked terrible. His hair was messy, his clothes were wrinkled, and he had dark circles under his eyes like he hadn't slept in days. "Sophia's here," Maria said. "I don't want her involved in this. Can we talk in my car? Just for a few minutes?" Against her better judgment, Maria followed him to a black Tesla parked in front of her building. The reporters were gone for the moment, giving them privacy. "I want you to know that I never intended for any of this to happen," Musk said once they were sitting in his car. "You mean you never intended to get caught?" "I mean, I never intended for people to die." It was the first time anyone from Tesla had admitted that people had died because of their software. "But you knew there was a problem with the cars." Musk stared out the windshield. "We knew there were issues with the acceleration software. But our engineers said it only affected a tiny percentage of vehicles in very specific weather conditions. Carlos died in those specific weather conditions." "I know. When you told me about your husband's accident, I realized..." His voice trailed off. "You realized what?" "I realized that he might still be alive if we had fixed the problem sooner." "So why didn't you? Why did you pay my rent instead of admitting the truth?" "Because I was scared." Tesla employs over 100,000 people. If we admitted the software was dangerous, the company might have collapsed. All those jobs would have been lost. So you chose to protect Tesla, instead of protecting families like mine. Musk turned to look at her. "I thought I could make it right without destroying the company. I thought if I helped you quietly, and we fixed the software without admitting fault, everyone would be okay, except for the people who died before you fixed it." "Yes. Except for them." They sat in silence for several minutes. "What happens now?" Maria asked. "Now Tesla faces the consequences of our decisions. The stock price is crashing. Customers are canceling orders. The government is launching investigations." "Good. Maria, I know you probably hate me, but I want you to know that your husband's death changed me. It made me realize that we can't put profits ahead of people's lives. If that's true, then why did you try to silence me?" "Because I was still scared, but you're braver than I am. You chose to tell the truth even when it was dangerous." Musk reached into his jacket and pulled out an envelope. "This is a personal check for $10 million. It's not from Tesla. It's from me personally. Use it for Sophia's education, or donate it to safety research, or do whatever you think is right." Maria stared at the envelope. "I don't want your money. It's not about what you want. It's about what Carlos would have wanted for his daughter. Carlos would have wanted you to tell the truth from the beginning. You're right. But since I can't change the past, this is the best I can do now." Maria took the envelope, but didn't open it. "What will you tell the media?" she asked. "The truth. Tesla will announce a full recall of all affected vehicles. We'll compensate every family that was hurt by our software. And we'll implement new safety protocols to make sure this never happens again. And what about the cover-up? I'll take full responsibility for that too." As Maria got out of the car, Musk called after her. "Maria." "Yes. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't bring Carlos back, but I needed you to hear it from me." Maria nodded and walked back to her apartment. Inside, Sophia was watching cartoons, completely unaware that the most powerful man in the electric car industry had just apologized to her mother. That night, Maria opened the envelope. The check was real. $10 million made out to her personally. She thought about what Sophia had said. Are you trying to fix it so other daddies don't get hurt? Maria picked up her phone and called Rebecca. Elon Musk came to see me today, she said. What did he want? To apologize. And to give me $10 million. Are you going to take it? I'm going to use it to start a foundation for automotive safety research. If Carlos's death is going to mean something, it should help prevent other accidents. That sounds like something Carlos would approve of. The next morning, Tesla announced the largest automotive recall in history. Over 800,000 Model 3 vehicles would be brought in for software updates. The company also announced a victim compensation fund, with an initial funding of $500 million. Elon Musk held a press conference and took full responsibility for the cover-up. He resigned as CEO of Tesla that same day. For Maria, it was finally over. The truth was out. Carlos would get justice. And Sophia would grow up knowing that her mother had fought for what was right, even when it was dangerous. The mystery of why Elon Musk had paid her rent was finally solved. It wasn't kindness, it wasn't generosity, it was guilt. But in the end, that guilt had led to the truth. And the truth had saved lives. 6 months later, Maria stood in front of the Nevada State Capitol building, watching workers install a bronze plaque. The inscription read, "The Carlos Santos Memorial Foundation for Automotive Safety, dedicated to preventing preventable tragedies through truth and transparency." Sophia squeezed her mother's hand. Daddy would be proud, wouldn't he? Yes, Mija. He would be very proud. The foundation had officially opened 3 months ago with the $10 million from Elon Musk. Maria had also received $2.8 million from Tesla's Victim Compensation Fund. But more importantly, she had received something money couldn't buy. The truth about what really happened to Carlos. The recall had been completed faster than anyone expected. Tesla had worked around the clock to update the software in over 800,000 vehicles. Independent safety experts confirmed that the new software eliminated the acceleration problem that had killed Carlos and at least 19 other people. Rebecca walked up beside Maria, carrying a folder full of papers. The final investigation report came out this morning, Rebecca said. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration found that Tesla knew about the software defect for 22 months before Carlos's accident. 22 months, Maria repeated. If they had fixed it when they first found the problem, Carlos would still be alive, Rebecca finished. The government investigation had uncovered even more damaging evidence than Daniel's documents. Internal Tesla emails showed that company executives had discussed the acceleration problem in detail, calculating how much it would cost to fix versus how much they might have to pay in lawsuits. They had chosen to take their chances with the lawsuits. What's happening with the criminal investigation? Maria asked. 3 former Tesla executives have been charged with criminal negligence. Elon Musk wasn't charged, but only because he cooperated fully with investigators and resigned from the company. And the other families, 47 families, have joined the class action lawsuit. Tesla has agreed to pay compensation to all of them without admitting fault, but everyone knows the truth now. Maria thought about those other families, parents, spouses, and children who had lost loved ones in accidents that could have been prevented. Their pain was finally being acknowledged. There's something else, Rebecca said, handing Maria a newspaper. Tesla's new CEO announced this morning that the company is implementing the strongest automotive safety protocols in the industry. Every software update will be reviewed by independent safety experts before being released. Maria smiled. Real change was happening, because people had been willing to tell the truth. And what about you, Maria asked Rebecca. What's next for the famous investigative journalist? I'm working on a book about corporate cover-ups. Your story will be the first chapter. What are you calling it? The Truth About Tesla. How One Mother's Quest for Justice Changed an Industry. That's a long title. It's an important story. People need to understand how corporate greed can literally kill people, and how ordinary citizens can fight back. That afternoon, Maria and Sophia drove to the cemetery where Carlos was buried. They brought fresh flowers and a copy of the Foundation's first safety report. We figured out what really happened to you, Maria said to Carlos's headstone, and we made sure it won't happen to other families. Sophia placed her hand on the granite marker. Hi, Daddy. Mom started a foundation with your name on it. We're helping make cars safer so other kids don't lose their daddies like I lost you. Maria felt tears in her eyes. but they were different from the tears she had cried for the past 2 years. These weren't tears of grief and confusion. They were tears of resolution and hope. On the drive home, Sophia asked a question that surprised Maria. "Mom, do you think Mr. Musk is a good person or a bad person?" Maria thought carefully before answering. "I think he's a person who made bad choices but learned from his mistakes. Like when I lie about not doing my homework? Sort of. But much more serious. Will you forgive him?" "I'm trying to, Mija. Forgiving people doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you decide not to carry anger in your heart anymore." "Is that why you used his money to help other people instead of keeping it for us?" Maria was amazed by her daughter's understanding. "Yes. That felt like the right thing to do." That evening, Maria got a phone call that she had been expecting for weeks. "Mrs. Santos? This is Dr. Jennifer Walsh from MIT. We've been following your foundation's work, and we'd like to offer you a position as Director of Automotive Safety Research." "I'm not a scientist or engineer," Maria said. "No, but you understand better than anyone why this work matters. You've seen firsthand what happens when companies put profits ahead of safety." "I'd have to move to Massachusetts. We know that's a big decision. The position comes with a full salary and benefits, plus funding for Sophia's education through college." Maria looked around their small apartment in Reno. They could afford a much nicer place now, but this had been home for the past 3 years. "Can I think about it?" "Of course. But Mrs. Santos, you've already changed the automotive industry. Imagine what you could accomplish with the resources of a major research university." After hanging up, Maria sat on her couch and thought about the offer. A year ago, she was struggling to pay rent and worrying about Sophia's future. Now she had multiple job offers and more money than she had ever imagined. But the money wasn't what mattered most. What mattered was that Carlos's death had finally served a purpose. Maria's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. For a moment, she worried it might be another threatening message from Tesla's lawyers. But when she read it, she smiled. "Mrs. Santos, my name is Jennifer Kim. My husband died in a Tesla accident last year in Ohio. I saw your story on the news. Thank you for having the courage to speak up. Because of you, I finally understand what really happened to David." A grateful widow. Maria had received dozens of similar messages over the past few months. Families who had been told their loved ones died because of driver error now knew the truth. That knowledge didn't bring back the people they had lost, but it gave them closure and peace. Sophia came out of her room with a book report she had written for school. The title was "My Hero, My Mom." "Can you help me check my spelling?" Sophia asked. Maria read the report with growing emotion. Sophia had written about how her mother fought the biggest car company in the world to find out the truth about my daddy's accident. She didn't give up even when they tried to scare her. Sophia had written. She chose to help other families instead of just taking their money. "My mom is brave and honest, and she makes the world safer for everyone." "Your spelling is perfect, Mija," Maria said, hugging her daughter. "Do you think I'll be brave like you when I grow up?" "You're already brave. You were brave when Daddy died, and you had to be strong for both of us. You were brave when reporters were asking questions and you didn't understand what was happening. And you were brave when you told me to keep fighting even though it was scary." "I want to be a safety engineer when I grow up," Sophia said. "Like Daddy was, but for cars instead of buildings." "That sounds like a wonderful plan." The next morning, Maria called Dr. Walsh at MIT. "I'll take the position," she said. "When do I start?" "How about this fall? That will give Sophia time to finish the school year in Nevada." "Perfect." Over the following months, Maria prepared for their move to Massachusetts. She hired a management team to run the Carlos Santos Foundation, ensuring it would continue its work even after she left Nevada. The foundation's first major project was funding research into artificial intelligence safety systems for vehicles. The goal was to create technology that would make it impossible for car manufacturers to hide safety defects from the public. If the cars themselves can report problems directly to safety regulators, companies won't be able to cover up accidents. Maria explained to a reporter who was writing a follow-up story. "Do you think Tesla would have hidden the acceleration problem if this technology had existed when Carlos died? I think it would have been much harder for them to ignore the evidence. Transparency saves lives." On their last day in Nevada, Maria and Sophia visited Carlos's grave one more time. "We're moving to Boston, but we'll come back to visit," Maria told him. I got a job at a famous college where I'll work on making cars safer. Sophia is excited about the snow. And the museums, Sophia added. There's a whole museum just about science. The foundation will keep working here in Nevada, helping families and supporting safety research. Your name will be on every project we fund. As they walked back to their car, Sophia asked, Mom, do you think we'll ever see Mr. Musk again? I don't know why. I want to thank him. Thank him for giving us the money to start the foundation. I know he did bad things, but he also helped us help other people. Maria was amazed by her daughter's ability to see complexity in situations that seemed simple to adults. Maybe someday, Maria said, people can change if they really want to. 6 months later, Maria was settling into her new office at MIT when she received an unexpected visitor. There's someone here to see you, her assistant said. He says his name is Elon Musk. Maria's heart raced. She hadn't spoken to Musk since that day in his car outside her apartment. Musk looked different than she remembered. Older, more tired, but also somehow more peaceful. Maria, thank you for seeing me. What are you doing here? I wanted to see the work you're doing with the foundation. And I wanted to ask if you'd be willing to consult on safety protocols for my new company. What new company? I'm starting an automotive safety research firm. Independent testing and verification for all vehicle manufacturers. I want to make sure what happened with Tesla never happens anywhere else. Maria studied his face, looking for signs of deception. But all she saw was sincerity. Why would you want me to consult for you? Because you understand the cost of corporate secrecy better than anyone, and because you've dedicated your life to preventing other families from going through what you experienced. I'll think about it. That's all I can ask. As Musk was leaving, he turned back to Maria. How is Sophia doing? She's doing great. She wants to be a safety engineer when she grows up. Like her father. Yes, like her father. Maria, I know this doesn't change anything, but I think about Carlos every day. His death taught me that innovation without responsibility isn't progress. It's just dangerous. After he left, Maria sat in her office, thinking about the strange journey that had brought her to this moment. A year and a half ago, she was a struggling single mother who couldn't pay her rent. Now she was a leading voice in automotive safety, running a foundation that was changing how the entire industry thought about transparency and accountability. It had all started with a mysterious rent payment and a feeling that something wasn't right. The truth had been painful to uncover, but it had also been liberating. Carlos's death had meaning now. His name would be remembered not just by his family, but by everyone who benefited from safer vehicles and more honest companies. That evening, Maria called Sophia, who was at a sleepover with her new Boston friends. How was your day, Mija? Great. We're building robots that can detect when people are lying. My teacher says it could help make sure companies tell the truth about their products. That sounds like important work. It is. Just like what you do, Mom. After hanging up, Maria looked out her office window at the MIT campus. Students were walking between buildings, carrying books and laptops, working on projects that might change the world. Among them might be the next person who would have the courage to speak up when they discovered something dangerous being hidden by powerful people. Maria had learned that ordinary people could do extraordinary things when they chose truth over comfort, justice over money, and courage over fear. The secret behind Elon Musk's rent payment had been revealed. It wasn't generosity, it was guilt over a deadly cover-up. But sometimes, even guilt could lead to positive change when the right people refused to stay silent. Carlos's death had revealed a truth that saved lives. And that truth would continue saving lives for years to come. And that's the end of Maria's incredible journey from struggling single mother to champion of automotive safety. What started as a mysterious rent payment revealed a truth that changed an entire industry and saved countless lives. We'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment below and tell us your city or country. It's amazing to connect with viewers from around the world. If this story moved you, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating true stories that reveal how ordinary people can create extraordinary change. Your support helps us continue bringing you these powerful tales of courage, justice, and hope. And don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Stories like Maria's remind us that truth and kindness can triumph over even the most powerful forces trying to silence them. By sharing, you're helping spread both awareness and inspiration to others who might need to hear that their voice matters too. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next story.